Never heard of that one.
Yeah, no, no, yeah,
Uh,
no. Do you have somewhere to stay?
yeah, I'm here in the deep green. I'm living in the woods. Uh,
Yeah, but did you stay out of the rain when it rained?
oh yeah, I have a place to, I got it covered. You know.
But when it rained, did you stay out of the rain?
Yeah, I stayed out of the rain. Yeah. Yep. I did stay out of the rain. Yep.
Because I don't know if I'm going to stay at this house or what, or where I'm supposed to go. I really don't even know what I'm supposed to do.
I thought you were selling the place and going to California.
I don't know.
So have you closed down the house?
No.
Okay. Well, you either stay there, and you've been there for a while, so you know what that's like, and or you can, go to California, and you know what that's like, and John, my life is relatively um, tenuous, right? And so I basically have turned it all over to God. I am basically a slave to God. And as I have read the Bible, that's what I've realized that, our relationship with God, we're not a servant. We're not there to bring him, a piece of pizza or something. We are there to basically.
Slave?
Yeah, slave. Meaning I only have one master, and my master is God. My life is not mine. My life.
But a slave to God?
Yeah, slave to God.
But why would?
I mean, all you have to do is look at Job, Moses, Abraham, all of those guys constantly talk about being a slave to God. Slave, not a servant.
You're a slave to God.
Because when you're a slave, you only have one master. And so when you have one master, it makes life easier, right? And it puts it in perspective, right? And when you read the Bible, you see the only place that God ever really gets pissed off with humanity is when we exert our selfish self, when, what was the original sin? Eating the fruit of knowledge, right? Of good and evil. And God said, you can do anything you want. This whole place is yours. Eat anything, take care of everything, but don't touch that fruit. And what do? They did that. So why did they do that? Because the snake, Satan, kind of convinced them, assuage their ego to, God won't kill you. Go ahead, eat that fruit. It's okay. Don't you want to be like God? And so that's the bottom line there. When you are just asserting your own ego, I want to do this, I want to do that. Now, we are morons. So God knows we're morons, so we make mistakes. We don't get punished for mistakes. When you do your best to be your best, to be what God tells you to be, then it's okay. And all through it, Daniel, David, Isaac, you name it, they all did their best to follow God's will. And they made mistakes, and God's totally understanding. You did a good job. You did your best. I love you for that. Right. So God's unconditional love. Jesus is unconditional forgiveness. So, that's God. And so that's why I'm a slave to God, because, yeah, I'm a moron. I make mistakes. I'm human, all of the above. But I do my best to be my best.
I know you're human. I know.
Right? So that's what I do. So I'm not worrying about whether I'm out in the rain or what's going on or whether I have any money or any of that. And I'm not worried about, so some people would freak out about, eye operation. And this, my stupid neighbor, he then tells me a story of about a person whose eye popped out of their, like I just had my eye operated, and he tells me a gory story about someone losing their eye.
What about Corey?
Who's Corey? Corey who?
I get the feeling like Corey is trying to
Who is Corey? I have no idea who you're talking about.
Corey, my friend Corey, who is angry at you and me.
Why? Why
He's
should
trying
he?
to be
Why?
more successful
Why?
and make
Why?
more money. And I've got an image of him. Now he's trying to brush it under the rug. Before that, he had laser eyes like Superman or Cyclops with the sunglasses, and he was sending it to you to try to attack you, and you were talking get to a laser beam from
John,
where he is.
that is a comic book imagery. Has
like
nothing to
attacking you.
no one no, I don't even know who you're talking about and why
you were saying an eye popping out.
Right.
You were saying an eye popping out and stuff. Like he was trying to attack you, like think that you would just be poor and die.
Right.
And then he said stuff like that to you before. He thought that you would just be poor and die since you didn't have your parents to mooch off of or something. He said that, and he thinks that that's why I have the money that I do. And he thinks that if I go to California or don't work for my mom and dad anymore, he thinks I won't be able to make money, and he thinks that I'll end up being like homeless. And he thought you were homeless, even though you're not homeless. You have the deep green to live in. That's kind of a house or a house.
Yep. It's kind of a house. It's not really a house. But it's livable and it's comfortable and I keep telling the rich people around me, I live like a millionaire on $400 a month, and I do. Because I don't spend money I don't have. I don't buy anything on the internet. I barely have the internet. I have to go someplace.
That's not how I am.
Right. So, but John, you can be.
That's not. I'm not like those rich mean people who are like mean. If they are that way,
right.
I don't know if they are.
But I mean, they're not mean per se. They're just ignorant. They're ignorant and scared. And like the people who are moving here, they're all moving here because not that it's beautiful and they can find nature. No, they're ripping it apart. This place will be gone in a very short time. It is so sensitive. I mean, the school on the hill, very sensitive place, but it has been around people for a number of hundreds of years. This place has been very, very, very unpopulated and very, very, very natural. And right now, it's being ripped and torn apart to build condos and gated communities and strip malls and Dollar Generals. And these people don't know what they're doing. And so, per se, are they mean? Well, they constantly tell me that they're Christians and they love God, but all they think about, like this one guy, I said, how'd you do with your, what'd you do for Father's Day? He said, oh, I went gambling. I lost $5,000. Like that's supposed to be something, oh, wow, you lost $5,000, So it's irrelevant. What's relevant is that I am a slave to God,
No. But yeah. Yes, you are.
So,
yes.
And so God takes care of all my needs, and I live that now. Like again, I say I'm a human. I'm a moron. I can make mistakes, but I do my best to follow in love's co-creation. And so,
maybe I'm not supposed to be a slave to God, but I'm a servant to God.
Whatever. I mean, read the Bible, buddy. It's pretty much clear that, Jesus says, no one gets to heaven but other through me, And what's that mean? You are a slave to God. And being a slave, so you have to put it into context. All it means is that you only have one master, and God is my master. I've had many teachers, I've had many, mentors, but I've only
Well,
had one master. You know, I've lived on a number of ashrams and studied,
fair
and
enough.
many
Praise God.
people call our
Praise,
teacher,
praise
master,
God.
and I would, just say sensei.
Praise God. Praise Jesus.
That's right. No, too bad. But anyway, my eyesight is coming back, which is a good thing. It's always good to be able to see through your
Uh,
eyeballs. But I don't have to worry, John. My physical, I'm, I wake up every morning, I pray, I exercise, I start off my day, right? And every act I do in service to God's
good.
unconditional love,
Well,
you know?
y-
So that's all you have to do. And when you order your life in that
I,
direction, things turn out okay. I was very the last week I've been receiving messages from my I have about 128 godchildren, kids all through my life that I kind of grabbed at a moment in their life when they were either going to do something really stupid to either get themselves killed or end up in jail. And I would say,
I,
no, 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 you're not doing that. You're going to come with me. I'm going to teach you to be an electrician. I'll find you a place to stay. Here, let me buy you a cheeseburger. And I had about 128 of those kids over the last 30 years. And a number of them got a hold of me over the last week for Father's Day. And it was really nice to hear that they're doing well, that they all, they don't even know where their fathers are, but they said, "You're the closest thing I have to a father." And the only reason that my life turned out pretty good is that you grabbed me,
God.
believed in me, you gave me a good example to follow and a thing to do with my life. And that is being in service to love's co-creation. I didn't have to do any of that, but I did. I mean, there were elements of it. I mean, I always needed a helper doing my electric work, so I taught them how to be electricians, right? But the bottom line is, if there is a balance to life, and if you can find that balance, that's when you are, in love's co-creation, right? So, and if you can be there, God will always got your back, always take care of you. Not in any way that you may want or think or should be, because all the things that I've been through, as I'm getting older and have time on my hands, I could be thoughtful and think about things. And as I tell stories on my YouTube channel, it gives, and I do it mostly because there is a following, that watches it and appreciates it. But what it does for me, it gives me perspective because I tell these stories and it makes me think about all that I've done. And I could have done, I could have been an A-lister many times, but I didn't because if I did do that, I wouldn't be doing God's will, you know? And I always allowed myself to be guided by that. And so, that's been my
But
thing. Now, again, I made great mistakes, and that's
you
fine because mistakes are one of the best way you learn about
say
life.
it was today for being in my videos.
Yeah.
No, no. In my videos on my channel that we did, that we signed a contract. You can make money on it too if they go really big one day.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. That's not why I did it, John. I did it because it was
California, I
kind
know
of fun, and I was learning about YouTube from you, and
work.
I kind of got my channel going because you showed me, oh, look, I can do this, so I did it, and I've been doing it ever since. And you know, I only can thank you for that. teaching me how to realize that I could do a YouTube channel. I gave it no thought at all. I mean, and I knew about all of this whoa, a long time ago. I actually, back in 1991, when the World Wide Web was starting to get, you know, big amongst, things other than corporations and schools and universities and governments. Me and this guy did this thing called Your TV. And it was kind of basically YouTube. And we did it for a few months, and no one even looked at it, watched it, or even saw what it was or knew what it was. And his wife got sick, and so we basically sold what we had to a thing that became GoDaddy. And because he was really smart, he basically wrote the software for what we were doing. So he sold that, and that money went to save his wife's life. And so, I mean, I didn't get any cut of that, but it didn't matter. We only did it, for a few months, and I saw what it was, and it really was kind of boring to me. So I didn't do it. And so as YouTube and all that stuff became more and more and more social media and Facebook and all that, I really it was boring. It really didn't and get anything to me. But once I did a YouTube with you and saw how people really responded to my stories, um, I went off and did my own thing. And it was a different thing from your channel. And we still did a few things on your channel. And I had I didn't need Dreamy Dreamland to go big, because I was doing what God wanted me to do with it. So I did it. So, and I'm still doing it. So, because the World Wide Web is more than what people think it is. It's a shamanic window. And every time I do a show, I'm that little pebble in the pond. And it doesn't matter what my YouTube numbers are. A lot of that pebble has a
So
vibration that goes out and touches a lot of people.
yeah, but oh, you can monetize I think you can monetize your videos now.
I'm sure I can. I probably have more than 500, and so I mean, I have close to 2,000 videos, and I have probably almost 600 subscribers. So yeah, I could do that. But I've kind of looked into it a little bit, and when you do that, you give up a good deal of your freedom to do it. So I'm still cutting my teeth on how to do it, and God will put me in a place that if my YouTube is supposed to go big, I'll be put in a place where it'll go big. If it's meant to be what it is, it'll be what it is, because I am a slave to God. I do what God doesn't talk to me per se, but God constantly puts things in front of me to challenge me and give me opportunities and to help others. And so I kind of realize, and especially the last 3 years, I read the Bible. So John couldn't take that. He just hung up. I bet you if he comes back, he'll be, spitting sulfur. But you guys, who's watching? I can't. Let's see. Where's my? I can barely see. And I can't. Where? Here they are. It's 19 minutes, and nobody's watching, and there's no thumbs up. So maybe that wasn't to the average person's taste. Let's see. And it's how much juice do I still got? I got a good 30 minutes, right? And what time is it? 8 o'clock. So I got about 30 minutes. So anybody want to make a comment? Anyone want to say anything? Anyone want to jump in? you know, not many people watched.
Thank you for
Um,
calling Johnson City Eye Clinic. Your call is very important.
not many people watched while I was doing my last one, but a bunch of you kind of jumped in and looked at it, and that's what I find, that the majority of the audience watches this not live, doesn't want to comment, you know, and so okay, let's see, that's not that one, that's this one. So oh, still nobody's there. I've been, the last 2 hours I've been watching what's on the internet. Let's see. And, it's very interesting. There's a lot. I mean, social media is quite interesting. It does have a lot of things that one can appreciate, right? But it's basically through the algorithms. It's warped, right? So you have to watch it almost in a warped mirror to kind of really see what they're getting at, right? So it's something's cooking between Tucker Frederickson and Donald Trump and what's his name? Good old Musk, Elon boy. Let's see.
90% of the people in Dallas, Texas, and probably the United States have heard all this over, have since decided that, as well as the second investigation held in the House of Representatives in Washington. And no one will ever convince me. I know damn well the shot that blew his head off came from the right front. And it always seemed to me that had the car speeded up, had there been better reaction on the part of the driver, they were only yards from what at least I perceived to be safety by getting on the expressway. But the car seemed to it didn't move. After that first shot, it just didn't move. And the thing that has over the years continued to rather haunt me about the whole situation was the feeling that did that first shot miss, as I felt it had, if it did miss, had that car speeded up, would he be alive today?
Even now, those eyewitnesses closest to the killing suffer their own haunting images from that dreadful day.
The headshot. Seeing his head blow up. I can see it just as plain. It's red. It's very brilliant. It's cone shaped. Going back. It's very impressive.
Another
Sad,
one.
the truth. I would agree with my mother.
Hey there, buddy boy.
Is so traumatic and permanently emblazoned.
What's shaking, Bacon?
Oh, I missed you. I just want to give you a call. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm in the deep clean. I had my eyes operated on, so I'm kind of blind at the moment.
Oh, no.
No, it's, I'll be able to see.
This is the Ludovico technique of Clockwork Orange.
No. Well, kind of, in that, the same little proper ups, that they put on your eyeball so you can't close your eyelids. Yeah, that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is the Ludovico technique.
No, but it's even worse because they stick a big in my eye.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's really fun. When a doctor's coming at you with a big needle, they go, now don't breathe, don't move, and don't look at the needle. And it's coming right towards your eye. It's like, really?
It's the break that you get, it's like you have nothing else to do.
Well, I have macular degeneration through my diabetes.
I know you said that.
And so it's what they do. And the next step is they blast your eyeball with a laser.
Really?
Yeah. They cauterize the little blood vessels in the back of your eyeball.
Well, they should just before that give you a bunch of ayahuasca.
Well, I don't know about that one, but the more interesting thing, so I wear these like welder's glasses after the procedure, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm walking around, and this the guy who I call Colonel Sanders, he came driving up, and so I said, "Oh, so how'd you do with your Father's Day?" He goes, "Oh, my wife and I went gambling. I lost $5,000."
Oh, great.
And I said, "And you've been stiffing me $100 for the last 6 months." It's like, really? And
Yeah.
then he goes, "So what oh, those are cool glasses. Can I wear?" No, no, sorry, can't wear these. And
What?
and he says, "Well, what?" And then I showed him my eye, at more than an arm's distance, and he goes, "Oh, I got a really good shot." And he tells me how this woman's eye was ripped out of her head,
Oh,
and I said, "Boy, that's really sympathetic.
what a great guy.
What a great guy." Yes. So he spent no time with his children on Father's Day, and he took his wife out, and he spent no time with her. He just gambled.
Yeah.
It takes a while to lose $5,000.
No, those guys, those are the best people.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish I had like $100. I went to a gambling place, Foxwoods. It's called
Uh-huh.
Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
And they have fun as well. I've
Is
been
that
there
an
too.
Indian place too? I guess
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Reservation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it's on the res.
Yeah, on the res, and there's plenty of places like that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the only thing we give Indians to make any kind of money at.
But Frank Sinatra opened the place.
Oh, how nice of Frank.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that night I did murder him, but
I always knew you were an assassin.
I was an assassin for mafia of.
You were an assassin for McDonald's and Walmart's.
Yeah, McDonald's for Ronald McDonald.
Yep.
Before he went away.
Yes, yeah. And where did Ronald go? Our friend here assassinated Ronald.
No, he's still alive.
He is?
He joined up.
Oh yes, I forgot. He is John Birmingham.
Well, he's off world.
He's off world. He's off world. Along with Sam Walton, right? Sam Walton is off world too.
So those are sort of buds.
Yeah.
And but Ronald, he's got the white. He has to put on the white makeup in space. That's not good. That's not easy.
Well, it's a new aesthetic,
And Foxwoods.
My mom once, when she was pretending she was what is it when old people lose their mind? Dementia, right? She didn't have it. She just loved tormenting my father.
Oh.
And so he was there, "Honey, we have to go to dinner. Quick, makeup." And so she kind of took her lipstick and she drew a big circle, kind of like the Joker in Batman.
Oh my God.
Yes, just to freak my father
you
out.
gotta make fun of something.
Yes.
It's so sad. You're gonna laugh or cry.
Right. So, and I was laughing hysterically myself because she was also playing with her tits. She had great tits to the day she died at 103, and she still had great tits at 103.
You know what? There's some ladies that have great tits, and they don't need to get implants.
No, or wear a brassiere. Right? I mean, my mom was, she was a mixture of Adolf Hitler and Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So the best of both sides.
Anyway, so Marilyn Monroe and Hitler. Anyway.
And Adolf Hitler. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
so I've been spending the last 2 hours up on my this guy's driveway, kind of watching the internet, looking at all different kinds of things.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Are you in the sort of the side near the woods, or?
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm in the woods in my car on the guy's driveway, tagging his Wi-Fi. He lets me.
Yeah, wait for him to come out to you.
No, he's gone. I mean, this,
Really?
He rents the place out, and so.
Oh.
So when the folk aren't here who he's renting it out to, or when he's not here, he lets me come up on his driveway,
Beautiful.
and it would be nice if the man I call Colonel Sanders, his Wi-Fi, because he's got cameras all over the woods,
Yeah.
and ergo they're piggybacking. They're like jumping um, the Wi-Fi from one camera. So there's one somewhat close to me, and
Uh,
so I get his signal. So I said, "Hey, why don't you let me use your Wi-Fi?" No, 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 can't do that.
why?
Because I don't have no idea. He's selfish. He's childish.
Well, the
He's
Wi-Fi is just honestly like it's not a big deal. It's
no,
like
it's not a big deal, right? And so so my neighbor,
I understand where it's coming from, but like it's like as the kids say, it's a boomer
right?
mind.
He's just a selfish little child. That's all.
Yeah, it's funny because you're way older than the boomer. Yeah, I guess you're the
No,
boomer.
I was born 1950. I'm a boomer.
Yeah, so you're like like you're not you're like trans boomer.
Yeah, I'm
You're like,
trans boomer.
you're like because you're not. You're like you think in ways that aren't.
Are not boomer.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
You think like a kid.
Right.
You have this energy about you that's like 19, 21 years, years old.
I think more like 11.
No, I feel like I'm 21. Like
My father
like-
said that until the day he died at 98. And he always said, I feel like I'm 16. And in a lot of ways he was.
yeah,
It's interesting. I had nothing to do with my family until I was 32, right?
really.
Yeah. I grew up with my grandma, and then I spent about a year and a half, 3 years with my family, but not really. I was never really with them, right? I kind of slept in their house, but in actuality, I was doing all these other things. And then they sent me up to prep school. They didn't want me, as the last, and they had such a problem with all my other brothers and sisters during the high school years. They sent me up to,
Right.
prep school to just get me out of the
What-
house. And that was it. I had nothing to do with them. And at 32, when my father had the War of the Roses over the business, it was just like that TV show that parallels the Fox News Rupert Murdoch family.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's a TV show about this media family, and they're all fighting to see who's going to take over it when Dad dies, right?
Except
Yeah, Accession.
my mom loves that show.
Yeah. So that was but see, every family is kind of like,
Oh,
especially
they are, but it's like Game of Thrones. But
right,
the thing
right, yeah,
but it's like a medieval sort of who's going to take over the power.
yes.
But the thing is, it's like so stupid in a way.
Did you
It's like-
watch Game of Thrones at all?
I remember meeting George R. R. Martin.
Who's
Before
Jo-
he,
Who's that?
he's the guy that wrote Game of Thrones, the
Oh.
books.
Oh, the books.
Right, that became into the TV show, and he wrote the books
Right.
and the game. I mean
The TV show, the series.
well, which
Right.
came to.
But
now-
okay, so did you read the books?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
of all those characters, who did you identify most with?
Wow, what a good question.
Yeah, well, that's my stock and trade. The good question.
Almost like, oh god, almost like the not the I don't want to say midget or outcast.
Why? That's what he called himself.
Well, he did, yeah, but I don't.
Okay, you didn't call it the politically correct little
No,
person.
I'm honest. Jamie Lannister,
Right. The guy who played that part.
who I was very attracted to.
You know who I identified most with?
Oh,
Was the youngest daughter who became the assassin.
oh no, not Sansa, but the little one.
Yeah, the youngest daughter who became an
The
assassin.
one with no face, the one with no identity.
Yes.
I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am no one.
I am no one. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's me. I mean,
Oh yeah, I identify with that too.
yes. When I was my
It's a brilliant thing.
yes, my mentors in the Maryknoll, it wasn't a seminary, it was a sanctuary. When I spent 2.5 years with those guys, and they put me back together.
Yeah.
That was one of the things they taught me to be is I am no one.
Right?
And
Yeah.
they also taught me about being I am the we in me.
What does that mean?
It means that your life isn't about you,
It's about everybody,
it's about the everybody.
right? And that means you too.
Yeah, the we in me.
Me, right?
I mean, the me doesn't, you're not there, it's just you're
Yeah,
we. You're the we in me.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And so that's so they but they also had
Have you ever been to the cloisters
oh
in New
yeah, oh
York?
yeah. I hung out there. You know, that was one of my fun places to take dates.
Isn't it awesome? It's like,
Yep.
and then you go to the cloister walk, which
Yep.
is like up on the hill, and then it's like this little serene, quiet place in the
Yeah,
middle of
it's
New York
like a
City.
little bit of heaven.
You know who brought that over there?
I knew that was brought there. I don't remember per se.
Thomas
I kind of
More.
know the story, but I don't remember the person.
Sorry, not Thomas More. Thomas Merton.
Merton, yes.
He brought the cloisters over.
Yeah, yeah.
Set up in New York City.
Yep.
On a ship, and he writes his book.
Yep.
While he's sailing over with it, he's
Yep.
like, "Yeah, I've got all this, you know, all this from the Pyrenees Mountains."
Yep.
And they set it up in New York City, and it is. I think it's sort of in New York City. It's one of these hidden spots that.
Well, it's basically a shamanic window,
Yeah.
you know, and
But like, not too many people know about it. It's like the cloisters.
well, it's on
everybody goes
every,
to the mat.
it's on the subway map. it's it's on the tourist map. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. It's. I mean, I used to go. I lived there forever, and so I had whenever the Christmas season would come, I would go to the you go by, you get your token, right, and you can say, hey, I want a subway map, and they give me one. I don't know if they give them to you anymore, but they'd give me one. But I went to this lady all the time and said, I'll take 10. I wouldn't say, can I have a map? I'd say what number I wanted, and I would then hand them out to people that I'd be going around, and I'd say they were definitely tourists. And I said, here is a memento from New York City.
Huh.
And I had a little stamp from my art world, and there was a period in my art persona that I was really into stamps,
Cool.
and because me and this guy, we would there were tons of lofts all over New York that no one was in for like the last 50 years, right?
Yeah.
And then after that article in the New Yorker about how cool it was to live in lofts, the lawyers would want to be in a loft, or so a group of us bought, before we just buy this 18,000 square foot. I want to get we didn't buy it, we would rent it for like 10 years.
Incredible.
As long as, and the guy who owned the building had never really rented to suck around for the last 20 years. So
it's insane to think about it.
so they were like, okay, so we would go in there and it would be full of stuff, all kinds of stuff. And
like,
you name it, from heavy equipment to art supplies. And,
really?
this one loft, it was 17,000 square feet and high, cardboard boxes with polyester sleeves to sweaters. Not the sweaters, just the frigging sleeves.
Stop it. Just the sleeves?
Just the sleeves. Because the factory manufactured the
No.
sleeves, and then they gave it to this other factory to make the whole, sew it together, and then it went bankrupt, and so no one moved those zillion boxes out.
There, yeah.
And so in the 70s and 80s, all the dancing girls would have these things, the leg warmers. That was me. I sold all of those. I was going to Juilliard. I had all these girlfriends who were dancers, and I said, "Here are these," and they became and so everybody needed them. And then this guy bought them all from me, and he went and then he went and made them the big groovy thing. But he gave me about $12,000, and the landlord thought I was a genius to get rid of them, and so
Yeah.
I had that, and so I sliced it up into, like, I don't know, 5 big lofts and rented it,
Yeah.
and
Boss.
I couldn't sell them, but I could sell the lawyers, the people who wanted to live in them, the key to the door. I called it the key fee,
Whoa.
right? So I would charge them 20 grand for just the key to get in.
20 grand.
Yeah,
Why?
because I could. They were stupid, they were rich, they were greedy.
Well,
Yeah,
what did they get out of it?
they got the space. They got the 2,000 square foot in the middle of Soho with a great view. And then
Got-
for another, 60 grand, I would fix it up to the whatever they wanted, to the most amazing thing.
Wow.
I mean, that's what I did for 2 years.
Man, that's amazing, right?
So I had more crazy shit than you can ever imagine, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what made me a. What are they? Those people who just keep hoarders, but it wasn't hoarding. It was. There's got to be something other than hoarding, like
Yeah.
psycho collector.
Well, like Andy Warhol almost.
Right, right, right. But no, he's in a case unto himself. He
Wow.
really, he was really an amazing guy in that he never really had any property.
Really?
Yeah.
You factory? What was it called? The
I
factory.
mean, the factory, he didn't own it. He rented it, and then, and he set up an entity like an LLC
Yeah, limited liability.
that held all his stuff, and so he had total access to whatever wealth he needed. I mean, people would just give him anything, but
Oh,
he really did not,
care.
you know. How many, like all the people around here who are moving in and buying up everything and ripping it apart and making million
Oh yeah,
dollar
yeah, yeah.
houses. They have to have it. They have to have it.
Oh,
And once they get it, it's not good enough.
oh,
It's really, and that's why this place is dying.
yeah.
I mean, it's like,
I hear ya, yeah.
it's amazing because it was
You know,
so,
you remember Lou Reed?
yeah,
Hey,
Lou Reed,
hey,
yes.
hey, how you doing? I'm gonna be Lou Reed right now. How are ya?
Yeah.
I made that record with the Velvet on the ground. I made my own records with David Bowie. You know any of those songs? You know any of them songs, Al?
Which ones?
Any Velvet Underground songs? that
Yeah,
I
he
wrote?
did with John Cale.
Well, me and John, we made some records after the Velvets, but we were together before that too.
Uh
And that's why, I think Superman's overrated.
huh.
I think he was much better when he, helped the cat out of the tree.
Well, of all the Superman tropes, the only one I like is Lois Lane.
Well, Lois is a great gal.
Yeah,
She keeps him grounded. She keeps him to the earth.
yeah.
He's one of she's really the heiress.
She's the super one, yes, because she does what has to be done.
He wouldn't exist if it weren't for her.
Exactly.
So anyway, so I like Superman when he wasn't doing all the crazy stuff, going in space or whatever.
Right.
He was back in Metropolis, hanging out and just trying to facilitate life. You know what I mean?
Well, the interesting thing about Superman, he of all of the DC and Marvel entities, he is like he's like Peter Pan's lost boy.
How so?
Well, it's interesting about Peter Pan. Peter Pan's not a nice guy. He'd
He's
fuck.
bad.
He'd fuck anybody to get after Captain Hook.
He fucked Wendy. No.
Yes, he and Wendy, which he did. No, he treated Wendy so poor. He treated the lost. That's why they were the lost boys, because Peter just kept cutting them loose.
Right.
Totally throwing them under the bus every freaking time. You'd think he'd get them some clothes instead of having to wear pajamas all the time.
It's
Yep. So that's Superman. He is like the Lost Boys, you know?
Well, he was lost at some point. You know, he was
He has no idea who he
Krypton.
is. He has no idea who he is.
Nah, but you know, his space suit is a human personality. You know, like he puts on the suit and the
Yeah, the
jacket.
Clark Kent
Yeah, that's his.
spacesuit.
That's his space. That's his undercover.
Right. But I like the idea that that's a spacesuit because that's really
Well,
what it
he's got to
is.
pretend to be us. You know what I
Well,
mean?
he's
Like,
living in a foreign. He's a stranger in a strange land. He
yeah.
doesn't come. Our planetoid bubble makes him Superman.
Well,
Back
yeah,
on
but,
Krypton, he's just an average guy.
yeah, but you know, whatever. Like Krypton's gone by now, and so
But
it blew
but
up.
but your analogy or metaphor of him, Clark
Atlantis.
Kent being his spacesuit, that's what it is.
Well, I'm saying like he comes to Earth, goes right to Kansas City, Kansas,
Right to
the heartland of America, where
and who does he find but his, the Kents, any
yeah,
other person would have turned him in for,
oh, exactly. They just stayed by the good of their heart and their
right?
will. Picked them up and said, "We're going to save this. This is
It's
what
our
we."
little boy. We can't have a child.
They
This is
couldn't
going to be
have a
our boy.
child.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So they brought him home. They raised him like one of his own,
yeah.
and that's the reason why he has that sort of like empathy.
All right, right.
With you know, but Superman,
But when he's Superman, that's when he's Clark. He's grounded. But when he is
but that's his
Superman,
real superhero.
yeah, that's a real super. But when he's Superman, he's a lost boy.
Well, he doesn't have a home,
Right.
right? And he's kind of lost in that sense, but he's his only home. He's kind of an Earth angel.
Oh, I like that. Earth Angel.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
yeah.
a bit of Oregon.
Yeah, I like that.
Uh,
Earth Angel. Yep, I like that.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
Like every world has, like Mars has its Aries,
Right.
or Pluto has its Pluto. You know, it's a different entities that protect the planet.
Yep, yep, yep.
And Superman is the one that he's somehow related to the sun too, but he also because he gets the power.
Just hold on. You keep talking. I have to beep off of the show here because my battery is about to die. But my phone is still
Sorry.
alive, so stay there.
I'll be
Okay,
here.
kids. I'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do, 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 do.